Racial bullying at an Oregon school. I'm Jalen Banks with what the victim is saying and the district's response.
I'm Ellie Liberté, looking into pedestrian safety on Willie Street after a car hit a coffee shop on Friday.
And later, the March of Dimes, raising awareness and support for maternal and infant health. We hear one mother's story and why today's walk is important to her, and we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6, live from Madison. And good evening, I'm Eric Franke. Sarah is on assignment this evening. As we move into warmer months, the foot traffic on Willie Street in Madison is picking up. And as our Ellie Liberté shows us, residents say traffic on the road is becoming a safety hazard for those on the sidewalks.
People go through this orange and red light quite a bit.
Stephanie Rearick has seen dangerous driving on Willie Street from her coffee shop. But on Friday, it knocked on her door.
It's our third time getting hit by a car since we've owned this building in 30 years.
For her, that's 3 times too many.
It is pretty terrible damage, but last time the car was fully in the place. We had to essentially rebuild the front half, replace our whole floor.
Stephanie now looking to fix more than just her store. She says the city has talked about adding speed bumps or barriers on the sidewalk.
It's kind of just in the concept level talk right now. We don't have any details, but it's something that we're working on.
Tom Moore with Madison Traffic Engineering says part of the reason that more cars crash into businesses on Willie Street is because the buildings are closer to the street than in other areas.
The thing about Willie Street, it doesn't really stand out compared to other similar streets. The speeds are high at times and there are speeders, but that's really no different than other streets in Madison.
But residents like Ann Walker say traffic on this road needs to be taken seriously.
I think one of the real concerns is that we're going to wait to do something about this problem until someone gets hurt or killed.
And while no one was hurt this time, Stephanie wants to make sure all of her customers stay safe.
It is such a bike and pedestrian friendly, and in order for it to stay that way, we need to reduce the flying through of cars.
Reporting on Willie Street in Madison, Ellie Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. Mother Fools will have a structural engineer look at the building this week. In the meantime, the owners say the best way to help them is by coming in and supporting their business. Well, the Madison Police Department leading an investigation into a death at the Dane County Jail. The sheriff's office says just before 6 this morning, deputies found someone unresponsive in the jail. Deputies and medical staff tried saving the person, but they passed away. It marks the second death at the jail in less than a year now. It was last August when 46-year-old Valerie Kuchia died in the jail after she was found unresponsive. Medical examiner's office has yet to provide a cause of death for Kuchia. The man charged with stabbing another man on State Street earlier this year will go to trial at a hearing Monday. Anthony Harper was found competent for trial. He's charged for allegedly stabbing a man March 15th at State and Gilman. Court records allege Harper told the man he was going to die before attacking him. Harper stood silently during his arraignment, in which a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. He'll be back in court next month. A man in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after stabbing early today. It was about 1 this morning when Fitchburg police responded to Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill on McKee Road for a report of a disturbance in the parking lot. When they got there, they didn't find any of the folks involved in the scene, but a short time later, officers got word that a man had checked himself into the hospital with stab wounds. Right now, investigators believe the people involved know one another. Anyone with information about the incident is urged to contact Fitchburg police. We have new information about a deadly crash in Grant County some 10 days ago. The Grant County Sheriff's Office has identified the person who died as 19-year-old preacher Paul Tribble of Madison. They tell us Tribble was driving a stolen SUV on Highway 61 when he lost control, slid into a ditch, and rolled over. Officers say Tribble wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Police say the 2008 Chevy Trailblazer had been reported stolen out of Sauk County. The warm and sunny weather continues. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington live at our Madison weather patio with our certified most accurate forecast. Alex, beautiful day.
Beautiful day, almost beautiful summer-like day is what it really feels like out here, and it's only May 6th. Wait till we look at some of those temperatures and wait to see where these temperatures are going to go. A brief blip in the thermometer, as I've been saying, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we dip down to normal, then right back up. The mercury goes to the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Next week, that's way above normal for this time of year. But in our 3 things you need to know, I don't want to forget that with that brief blip in the thermometer being a little bit cooler later Wednesday going into Thursday, we do have a little bit of patchy frost potential Thursday night before that mercury goes back up again. So prepare now. You may want to cover some of those tender plants Thursday night. And tomorrow night, I'll have another update if it looks like it'll be cool enough Wednesday night that you may want to also cover Wednesday night. You could certainly do that just to err on the side of caution. The reason why we have a backdoor cold front that's going to be coming through, these are going to be early high temperatures on Wednesday, midday, right around noon to early afternoon. Warmer in southwest Wisconsin, cooler to the east before cool air really rapidly moves in off of Lake Michigan later Wednesday afternoon. 79 in Madison, 82 still to the north in the Dalles, and we've got 79s and 78s and a couple of 80s in the northwest part of Dane County up towards the Dane and the Cross Plains and the Roxbury's and the Sauk City area. So gorgeous evening tonight to do summer-like plans, even though we're not even near summer yet. We're just in the middle of spring as you join us at 10 o'clock, still in the 60s in southern Wisconsin, and it will be a mild night tonight. Again, coming up in Maine weather, we're going to track that temperature change on Wednesday. I'll show you how low the mercury could go in your neighborhood, and then we'll talk about long-term precipitation chances and long-term temperature trends, I should say, in a few minutes when I return.
All right, Alex, thank you. Today, nearly 100 people participated in the March of Dimes at Dean Health Plan. The walk advocates for maternal and infant health, and our Tanisha Shaw spoke with a mom that's using her story to advocate for others.
They had brain bleeds, they had lung disease, they had vision problems, and so it was a rocky start.
Caleb and Ben Abendroth recently celebrated their 5th birthday. Their mom, Nicole, is grateful for another year with her sons.
But they were actually born in 2020, 24 weeks, so 16 weeks premature. They spent most of their first newborn year in the neonatal intensive care unit, or the NICU, at Children's of Wisconsin, and it was tough.
During their time at the NICU, their family went through a devastating loss.
Unfortunately, when my water broke early, their brother Jack, AAA, he was born at 23 weeks, and he survived for 2 hours before dying in our arms.
Their loss is something that a lot of moms can relate to.
Premature birth, that affects 1 in 8, 1 to 10 families, depending on the statistic that you're looking at. And so unfortunately, when it happens to you, it can be extremely eye-opening.
Employees at Dean Health Plan walk to make sure stories like Nicole's are more known. Nearly 100 people supported the March of Dimes walk Tuesday.
I think that being together, being able to walk, being able to raise awareness also brings attention to the fact that you're not going through this alone.
And they're out here marching to share how life-threatening pregnancy can be, not only for the baby, but also for the mom.
Education is power in this case, and so making sure that you seek those right resources and the right support to truly make informed decisions that are also aligned with what's in your heart is key to navigating anything that might come your way.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. Dean Health Plan donated approximately $10,000 to the March of Dimes through this walk. Well, today marks the beginning of National Nurses Week, and we are highlighting one UW Health burn unit nurse who goes above and beyond for his patients. Luke Marcus has been part of UW Hospital's burn unit now for more than 20 years, and during that time, Marcus has worked with the American Burn Association on its efforts to develop requirements for the world's first burn nursing specialty certification, and he received an approval last year, and most of Marcus's patients happen to be men. They tend to have lengthy hospital stays, so Marcus decided to take up a hobby to help them keep up with their hygiene.
We all feel better after you get a haircut, so I took it upon myself to cut people's hair. A small act of, almost like an act of kindness.
No doubt. Small act of kindness that goes a long way. National Nurses Week, by the way, ends on May 12th. Well, this afternoon, the Oregon School District released a video addressing recent racially motivated bullying within the district. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks sat down with one of the students who says they no longer feel welcome at their school.
Meet Amir Vaughn.
One of my favorite TV shows, I would say SpongeBob.
An 11-year-old student within the Oregon School District. Amir and his mother, Shiana Vaughn, moved to Wisconsin in 2019 in search of a better life.
Originally, I left Chicago because I had my son. Unfortunately, I was shot out there, shielding my son. So I left there because I'm like, that's a sign from God that it's time for me to do better for my child.
And for a while, things were better for the Vaughn family, living the life they always wanted.
I came here. I ended up having more kids. I went to school. I got my bachelor's.
That was until Shiana started noticing something different about Amir once he started the 6th grade.
The first few days for my kids, they was excited. It went great. But then more and more, I noticed my son coming home from school, like just acting different and looking different.
Amir was being racially bullied at school.
And the first time I heard what was wrong was when the principal called me, and she told me that she overheard a child saying something racist to my son.
And speaking to Amir, the racial bullying was a common occurrence.
Like this one kid, we was at football, and I don't play football, I play basketball. I dropped the ball, and he was like, you suck, this and that, and I was like, and I said something back, and he was like, shut up, that's why you're black, or something like that. I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
How many kids would you say were saying this?
There's a whole lot. I just don't feel like I belong there.
The Oregon School District released a video confirming the influx of racist and hateful bullying within the district.
Creating a school community where each and every student belongs. Unfortunately, because of the use of racial slurs and slurs about sexual orientation, this is not the experience for all of the students in the Oregon School District. Because of the internet and social media, students are increasingly exposed to harmful language and content.
But for the Vaughns, pain still remains.
And it hurt. Like, it hurts. And I feel like they listening, but I'm not being heard. Like it's going in one ear and out the other, and that it doesn't matter. And I feel like they are trying to do something when it's too late. But why does it take that?
I emailed the district asking if any expulsions have been handed out in relation to the Amir bullying incidents, and they say, we are not able to discuss details related to specific situations due to our legal responsibility to protect student privacy. Reporting for News 3 Now, I'm Jalen Banks.
And coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, live in Madison, the Real ID deadline is almost here. After the break, what you need to know about the new form of ID and what happens if you don't get one right away. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Starting tomorrow, airport security checkpoints across the country will be looking for real IDs. And our Kyle Pozorski is at the Dane County Regional Airport with what travelers think of this new requirement.
I thought a real ID was just your ID.
You almost can't blame people for confusion over the Real ID deadline. It was in 2005 when Congress passed the Real ID Act to set new standards for sources of identification. In the years since, Real ID has been repeatedly pushed back. That is, until now.
People panicking because they didn't get it done.
Tom flew into the Dane County Regional Airport Tuesday, prepared for the new change.
I've had it for about 2 years when I renewed my driver's license in South Carolina.
Another traveler, Helen from Texas, expressing zero concerns.
I'm not concerned because I have what I need.
These two are not alone. According to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, about 81% of travelers already have IDs that comply with the Real ID requirements. But if you're one of the few who don't, there is still a way you can board your flight without one, as a passport will work. However, the process to get a Real ID in Wisconsin is quite simple. The Wisconsin DMV has instructions on how to do so over on their website. Just make sure you do get that Real ID before that next flight comes around. At the Dane County Regional Airport, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. It's also important to know that Real ID is only required for flying. And still ahead, Mother's Day almost here. Why those flowers could cost a bit more this year. Plus, the site of the once famous Tommy Bartlett Thrill Show has been sold. Who bought it and what their plans are for the future of that property. And a sneaky cold front moving in tonight. Alex with a complete forecast when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6. Moving forward.
The rush to get a gift from mom this coming Mother's Day is underway. Tariffs, though, are having an impact on flowers. The Association of Floral Importers says the floral industry is deeply felt President Trump's baseline 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. because of frequent fragile imports. According to the Importers of America, more than 80% of flowers sold in the U.S. are imported, mostly from Colombia and Ecuador.
They have the same temperature all year round. So the commerciability of growing what we need for the consumers 52 weeks a year is able to be done.
Well, the extra cost will be a burden to some florists and may, of course, be passed on to consumers. In the Dells, the site of the Tommy Bartlett Show and Tommy Bartlett Exploratory has a new owner. Today, Ripley's, believe it or not, announced it's purchased the property. That purchase marks the end of the Tommy Bartlett Water Ski Show, which ran from 1952 until its closure in 2020 due to losses caused by the COVID pandemic. Meanwhile, Ripley says it does plan to continue operating the Tommy Bartlett Exploratory year-round.
Hi, Bookie for Tokyo. How's the weather?
That is absolutely precious. Berkeley, how's the weather in Dodgeville? It's sunny. If you look out your window, it's sunny outside. It's going to be clear tonight. It's going to be mild. It's in the 70s. That's warm, so you can go outside and have a good time with your family. And guess what, Berkeley? I even have a view of Dodgeville with our camera in Dodgeville, so we can show you and your family and areas in Iowa County what's going on in Dodgeville right now. Clear skies, just a couple puffy little fair weather cumulus clouds out there. Gorgeous day out there, and it will still be nice on Wednesday, but Berkeley and southern Wisconsin, some changes are in the forecast for a wee bit. We'll have temperatures right around 70 degrees in Madison, probably close to the noon hour. Warmer over southwest Wisconsin, and then cooler air is going to fill in with what's called a backdoor cold front. Well, what's that? Well, that's a cold front that comes in from a different direction. It comes in from the east and from the northeast instead of from the west and northwest, bringing cool air in off of Lake Michigan. This is where you have that day that starts off really nice, it's sunny, and then those cool winds get gusty later in the afternoon, and the temperatures take a tumble. And that's what's expected tomorrow. Again, as we approach 1 o'clock in the afternoon, mid-70s over southwest Wisconsin. Watch as we look off here to the east. As we head later in the day, you see the greens and dark greens coming off of Lake Michigan and then sweeping behind me here, sweeping across southern Wisconsin, upper 30s for low temperatures Wednesday night. But it'll be breezy, and with breezy conditions, that should help to keep the patchy frost chance at bay for Wednesday night. Thursday, after high temperatures in the lower to middle 60s, some weather model indications getting our lows down into the mid 30s. So between the 2 days, Wednesday night and Thursday night, I think you're going to want to consider covering up any tender plants Thursday night. But tomorrow I'll have a fresh update on that. After those falling temperatures on Wednesday, I'll let you know tomorrow. And Savannah will be here 2 in the morning if you might want to cover those tender plants Wednesday night in addition. But for sure Thursday night, and then warming right back up. The thermometer is going to inch its way up, back up into the 70s by Friday, and then into the 80s. So what we're experiencing now, upper 70s to right around 80 degrees across southern Wisconsin and in Dane County. That weather is on its way back. Beautiful evening, as we just were showing Berkeley and Dodgeville. This really can't be beat. It's summer-like weather, 80-degree temperatures. That's what you would see in July. Lows are right around 50 degrees for tonight across southern Wisconsin. And that precipitation, I'll get out of the way here. We're just about where we should be at this point of year, right around 9 inches. But as I mentioned before, a dry period is ahead for southern Wisconsin. And as we go out beyond our next 10 days here, I have this nice pretty picture here from Jeremy as well. Our 6 to 10 day outlook is looking drier than normal and warmer than normal.
And coming up in sports, Badger red, white, and blue. The opportunity Charlie Furbringer has with Team USA. That's next on News 3 Now. Wisconsin basketball relied on their experience for their success last season, and most of which is no longer with the program. They saw 6 players graduate and another 4 hit the transfer portal, leaving Greg Gard to get creative to replace that production. So he hit the portal looking for 2 things: guys with experience and guys who fit what it means to be a Badger. And Gard believes he hit the lottery with the trio he brought in.
With Carrington, with Boyd, and Rhodey, we added a lot of experience. You know, I think that was important to be able to bring guys that have had experience, because we lose a lot of experience. And then with the others, you know, just continuing to grow and get better. Rapp, I think he was West Coast Conference Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year there, and he fits with who we are.
In her Wisconsin debut last season, Charlie Furbringer had 42 assists against one of the best teams in the country, and the rest, as they say, is history. Furbringer went on to be named the All-Big Ten's freshman team. Well, ahead of her sophomore year, the Badger setter is one of 18 athletes invited to train with Team USA's U21 roster with hopes of representing the red, white, and blue at the Pan Am Cup in Costa Rica. Well, there's not a lot to talk about in the college football world from now until fall camp, so you find things like this. USA Today ranked its power rankings of the Big Ten coaches. Luke Fickell sits 11th out of the 18 coaches in the league. Ryan Day comes in at number 1. PJ Fleck is 7th, and Brett Bielema sits 8th. Again, just a meaningless poll as we wait for week 1. And Wisconsin softball begins their journey toward a Big Ten tournament title tomorrow when they face Michigan in the first round, where it will be a rematch of last year's tournament semifinal. Remember, the Badgers became the first double-digit seed to reach that round of the conference tournament a year ago. Just got to get hot and anything can happen.
It can indeed, Zach. Thank you. And coming up at 10, the City of Whitewater Police Department and School District are at odds over their shared school resource officer contract. Why the city says the district is mischaracterizing local law enforcement. Again, that story tonight on News 3 Now at 10. And we get to Alex, final check of the forecast.
Yeah, at 10, we'll do a fresh relook at our temperatures cooling down. We could get a little bit of patchy frost Thursday night, and I'll have the latest update on that patchy frost potential. And look at Mom's Day's forecast. Really nice.
All right, Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us, folks. Have a great evening. We'll be back here tonight at 10.